Hello all. These instructions will help you complete the activity today related to confidence intervals. So on your screen, you should notice that the document I have here is identical to the one that you have, and I want to walk you through each one of the steps. So the scenario here is that we're trying to figure out what the population mean number of Facebook friends is for a large group of Vancouver, British Columbia statistics students. This is taken from a classroom activity in 2016 in a Canadian university. So it turns out that the actual population mean is 429. Now, you're sort of going to pretend like you don't know that. And we're going to try to figure out the 429 based upon repeated sampling. So everybody's going to be doing this sampling and producing confidence intervals based on their samples. So step one is to get 10 observations at random from the data sheet, the second page of your packet. So the second page of your packet looks like this. These are 215 different students numbered from 1 to 215. So for example, student number 1 had 165 Facebook friends. Student number 2 had 350 Facebook friends. You're going to use your TI-30XS2 calculator to generate 10 random numbers between 1 and 215. There's a function called RANDI for random integer. The instructions are shown here about how to use it. You can also find a video attached to this Google Classroom assignment which describes how to generate a random number between 1 and 215. So produce 10 random numbers. And for each of the random numbers, make sure that the random numbers are between 1 and 215 though. You don't want to generate a number that's like 6,000 or something like that. So once you have those 10 numbers, you have the subjects. What you need is the number of friends for those subjects. So you'll read let's say if your random number was 132, the number of friends that person had was 792. 792 is the number that you write here in this spot. So you're going to do that for 10 students. Then you're going to use your calculator to generate a mean and a standard deviation of that sample of 10 number of Facebook friends here. And if you don't recall how to create a sample standard deviation and a mean using your calculator, if you turn to page number 3 of your packet, it describes how to use your TI-30XS calculator to do that. So you write down the mean and the standard deviation. And then you calculate a 95% confidence interval for the true population mean. And in order to do this, I suggest you watch the video attached to the Google Classroom assignment. You'll see a video. It's titled Calculating Confidence Intervals, Unknown Population Mean, and Unknown Standard Deviation. You will find this video attached to the Google Classroom assignment. This video gives you detailed information about how to calculate a confidence interval, and the procedure, turns out, is a little bit different from the generic introduction that we did in class. So I suggest you watch that video in order to figure out how to calculate the confidence interval. So once you've calculated your confidence interval, you're going to ask the question, does the confidence interval you created contain that number 429? If it does, you're going to circle a yes on the board next to your period. So each of the class periods has a poster. Second period has a poster with a bunch of YN, YN, YN boxes. So there's enough for all 32 students in each class to be able to circle a yes or circle a no. So simply find the next available box that has not already had somebody circling a Y or an N. And if your interval contained the 429, then you're going to circle the Y. If your interval did not contain the 429, you're going to circle a no. Then after this is finished, you have to wait until the students in the class have completed placing their yes nos onto the board. You're going to total up how many of the yeses there are, and you're going to divide it by the total number of students. And that's going to produce a percentage here. And What we'd like to show is hopefully 95% of those samples, the true mean fell within it. So you'll simply use this idea that there should be about 95% of them within which our sample mean falls to answer questions 6, 7, and 8. If you have any additional time, you might want to read this short blurb on the last page, which I included. It turns out that uh, the census, the national census that's done every 10 years, is an absolutely enormous undertaking by the federal government. It's a remarkable collection of procedures and human actions that somehow converge on producing probably the most important data that our economy has. So there's some information I placed on the back of that packet. When you're finished, turn this packet in to your substitute teacher. You do not take the packet home with you. The only way to receive credit for the assignment is to do the assignment in the classroom and complete it in the classroom. So I hope that information was helpful to you. See you soon.